Previously, we were examining the life of Sawda, one of the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, specifically the second wife that he married after Lady Khadija alayhi salam. And we examined the accounts that claimed that the Prophet divorced her. And basically we mentioned that there's no evidence in Sahih hadiths that the Prophet actually divorced her or he threatened to divorce her because she was getting old and he was no longer interested in her. And we talked about the verses of nushuz, when a wife does not fulfill her marital obligations, then what is the path that the Quran recommends? When a man does not fulfill his obligations, what is the course of action that the Holy Quran recommends? We examined that. We'll now just briefly finish examining some 2-3 points about Sawda, and then we'll examine other wives of the Prophet. We do have in some hadiths that Sawda did make some mistakes in terms of some things that she said after the Battle of Badr. So some scholars have said that this is a negative stance that we see from Sawda, and it's something that was really unfortunate for the wife of the Prophet ﷺ to make a comment like that. So it has been recorded in history that when they brought the captives of Badr, the prisoners of war from the mushrikeen, they brought them to the Muslim side. She saw Suhail ibn Amr sitting in one corner of the room, and his hands were tied to his neck. His hands were tied with a rope. So basically he was arrested, he was handcuffed with a rope. She said, Sawda, she said, I couldn't help myself. When I saw that scene, she pretty much became emotional. And she told him, Ya Aba Yazid. That's his kunya. His title was Aba Yazid. His name was Suhail ibn Amr. أعطيتم بأيديكم ألا متم كراما. You surrendered with your hands? Why did you not die in honor? What do you make of a statement like that by the wife of the Prophet?
Why didn't you keep fighting?
Exactly. The implied meaning of such a phrase is, why don't you keep fighting? Fighting who?
My husband.
Fighting the Muslim side, fighting for the Prophet? So the Prophet ﷺ became very disappointed. And she says, it seems I didn't really know what I was saying until the Prophet, he commented and he awoke me from what I was saying. And he told me, Ya Sawda, أعلي على الله وعلى رسوله تحرضين? Sawda, you're instigating against God and His Prophet? So she said, Ya Rasulullah, I swear, when I saw his hands tied, I just became emotional and I said that. So we have Shia scholars who've taken this incident and they're like, this gives us a negative impression of Sawda and how much faith she had in the Prophet and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And especially those scholars who see clear evidence that she would side with Aisha and that camp, right, as we mentioned before. So you will find Shia scholars pretty much critical of Sawda. Not to the point like they are critical of Aisha and Hafsa, but they are critical of her. And they would use this example as a troubling example that, when you say something like that, how can you have full iman for you to say something like that? This is not just an ordinary slip. You're telling the enemy who came to kill you and fight you, when you see him handcuffed, when you tell him, why didn't you not die in honor? How come you surrendered? Well, what kind of implication is that? You should have continued fighting the Prophet? That's unacceptable by all standards. Yes, one could say, okay, she got emotional, she didn't really mean it. But a woman of full faith would not say that. That's the argument of some scholars. Yes.
It also somewhat questions her allegiances. Like, was she maybe a spy for the other side? And it
raises questions. Well, we do know that we don't have any evidence that she spied for the other side, right? But it does question, it does question her allegiance in that moment, right? On whose side are you for you to say something like that? A lot of scholars just brush this off to the side and they say she just got emotional. Some women, when they see maybe something in the battlefield, maybe violence, maybe blood, maybe someone handcuffed, they just blurt out something, right? So a lot of scholars have not taken this seriously, but there are some scholars who've taken this very seriously. And they're like, this one statement here tells us a lot about her personality. And especially later when she's sided with Aisha and conspired with Aisha, which might even tell us she may not have had full faith in the Prophet. In any case, this is something documented in our history that she said that, and the Prophet was very upset.
Is this also in the sources of Ahlul Sunnah?
Oh yes, this is mentioned in their sources too. But like I said, even Shia scholars, they've brushed this off. They're like, she got emotional, she didn't really mean it. And when the Prophet alerted to what she's saying, she kind of regretted what she said. She's like, Ya Rasulullah, I didn't really know what I was saying. I just saw him handcuffed and I said what I said. And I swear by Allah, I didn't really mean it that way. Right? So a lot of scholars have been easy with this statement, but some have been really critical. But there's one good thing that we see, one positive towards the end of her life, after the Prophet ﷺ. Basically, in Hajjatul Wada', the final farewell pilgrimage of the Prophet, 2 months before he was martyred, before he passed away, Sawda was with him in Hajjatul Wada'. So she went to that Hajj, but never after that did she go to the Hajj, and never after that did she travel. So unlike Aisha, who traveled, left her house and mobilized armies, Sawda says, I have nothing to do with that. Sawda refused to leave her house or go to Hajj. And she even once mentioned, حَجَجْتُ وَاعْتَمَرْتُ فَأَنَا أَقِرُّ فِي بَيْتِي كَمَا أَمَرَنِي اللَّهِ. I've already done my Hajj. I've already gone to the Umrah. Now I'm going to stick to my house just as Allah has commanded me in the Quran. And so we find that Sawda, Zainab bint Jahsh, they were very clear that we will not لا تحركنا دابة بعد رسول الله. No means of transportation is going to make us move after the Prophet. We're here. We're going to implement the verse of Surah Al-Ahzab that says to the Prophet's wives, stick to your homes. وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ. So Sawda, we find that after the Prophet ﷺ, she did not go with Aisha. She rather stayed and she would not even travel.
Were these the only two wives who obeyed that verse?
Well, Salama, we do have some references that she just went for Hajj. So without getting any involved in political matters like Aisha did, she just went for ibadah, Hajj, and she came back. So Salama's understanding was, sit in your homes doesn't mean you're locked in your house. That means don't get involved in matters that Allah has already decided, like caliphate, politics, social issues. But if you want to just go for Hajj or Umrah, that's fine. So yes, we do have historical accounts that Salama went to Mecca.
In just normal verses, it seems like, if you have the Prophet available to you to ask the tafsir, you would ask, right? And for these women, that's their husband, and that verse, it came, khususan for them. Why was there ikhtilaf in their interpretation?
See, there wasn't ikhtilaf in their interpretations. Basically, Salama would remind Aisha, as we will now examine her biography.
I'm talking about Zainab bin Jahsh.
Well, I'll get to that. But Salama reminded Aisha that, remember, we were with the Prophet. He clearly reminded us of this verse, and then he said, one of you is going to violate this verse when you're on your path going somewhere and you go by the kilab of Hawab. The dogs of Hawab are going to bark at you, and that's the sign that you're disobeying Allah. So it was understood by the wives of the Prophet that they could leave the house, go to the masjid, run some errands, that's fine. Go for ibadah like the Hajj, that's okay. But not to get involved in political matters. That's what the Quran banned them from doing. As for these two, Sawda and specifically Zainab bin Jahsh, it seems that when they saw Aisha mobilizing people to make this point very powerful and to make it very clear that we're not getting involved in anything, we're literally going to stick to our homes. Yes, I have the right to go to the Hajj, that's fine. The Prophet never banned me from that, but I will even avoid that. So no one will think that I'm going there and maybe having secret talks with someone or mobilizing something with someone. So because they felt strongly about that and they wanted to make sure that they implemented the verse verbatim without any confusion, they chose that for themselves. So they basically went out of their way to make sure that they're not getting involved in these matters. That's my analysis of it. She passed away during the caliphate of Umar ibn al-Khattab, towards the end of his caliphate, in the city of Medina, in the month of Shawwal, year 40, Sanat 54, year 54 of the Hijrah. Year 54 of the Hijrah, she passed away. And Al-Waqidi, the historian, he says, according to my research, that is the date of her death. Some historians have mentioned other dates for her death.